everybody come up and maybe like just grab a piece of this or something. It's hard to grab a piece of it. Just come and look at it.
Oh yeah, rose. Yeah,
Woods rose?
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rose so woodsy.
Okay, will somebody MC this one for me entirely?
I can do it.
Who's that, Tyler Shaver?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're in.
Kaya, would you put your camera on Tyler Shaver?
Are we gonna start on major group key?
Yeah, we're on page, in our Woody Plants of Utah book, we're on page 28, starting at the very beginning, major group key.
Okay. It's either a woody shrub or tree with needle-like, scale-like, or all-like leaves, usually evergreen, produce cones, or plants with leaves usually broad, blah blah blah, angiosperms. It's not that.
Okay, so do we all know that the leaves are needle-like? Yeah. Oh, this is a very good example of that, right? Okay, so we're going to key 1, page 28.
Okay. Leaves usually scale-like or all-like, usually less than 1.5 centimeters long, or leaves needle-like, usually more than 1.5 centimeters long.
What do you guys think? Needle-like.
Yep.
Good 9.
9 on the next page. Base of the needles not surrounded by a sheath. Oh, whoops, that was 9. The base of the needles, particularly current growth, surrounded by a papyri sheath, needles in bundles of 2 or more, occasionally 1, cone scales thick or woody. Base of the needles not surrounded by a sheath, needles attached separately, cone scales thin, papery.
Okay, so the things in this couplet are, is there a papery sheath around the base of the needles? And are the needles clustered in 2 or more, or are they attached singly? So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, come up and look at that again and make note of those 2 features. What do you guys think?
Not surrounded by a sheath.
No sheath.
Yep.
Are the needles in clusters or fascicles is what we call it, or not?
Not.
No, they're singly, okay? So we go to 15.
Okay. Needles 4-angled in cross section, sharp point. Branches very rough from the persistent leaf bases. Cones pendant, papery, and intact at maturity. Or needles more or less flattened, tips not sharp. Branches somewhat smooth where needles have fallen. Cones erect to pendant.
Okay, so I hope you got a needle and you can look at it in cross section. What do you think?
It's flattened.
I think it's going to be
But
four
it is
sides once you
flattened.
cut it. It's, yeah, like you said, it's really sharp. And it kind of feels like there might be 4 sides. But
I would think it's no.
It's not sharp compared to
It's not
other
sharp. I
me.
didn't
needles.
get it.
Well, I guess that I'm just wimpy.
It smells nice. So I broke it in half and looked at it, and it's still
Oh.
quite flattened.
It's not. Oh no, it's just
The
two
sharp,
sides.
it literally like poke you
I lied.
like a needle.
Okay, so this, it is a little pointy. It's still needle-like, right? But this one will not make you bleed if you run into it.
Nope.
But it is flattened. So where do we go from that?
17.
17.
Okay, needles arise from slightly raised oval leaf scars, narrow at the base, point of attachment less than 1 millimeter wide, buds reddish brown, sharp pointed, seed cones pendant with persistent cone scales with conspicuous 3-pointed bracts. Or needles arise from flat circular scars, the point of attachment at least 1 millimeter wide, buds light brown to whitish, blunt, seed cones erect, the scales deciduous at maturity, the slender axis of the cone sometimes persisting for several years.
Okay, if you haven't had a chance to come and look up here, I want you guys to be able to know what's the difference with this. So come up and take a look. and you might have to tear off one of the needles and look at the scar. Note that whether or not the leaf tapers to less than 1 millimeter. Look at the leaf scar. Okay, what do you guys think?
I think it's B.
Huh?
I think it's B.
Okay, so Tyler says it's B. What about other people? I need more input. What?
I agree.
Some people agree.
I thought they were slightly raised and oval, right? Is that what B was?
That was
Those
A.
I thought it was A, but that's what it looked like to me. But
Okay, are the branches rather rough where the leaves are removed?
yeah.
No.
Wait, it's not.
Problem is that you haven't had the chance to have anything to compare with yet.
Oh.
So that's a little challenging. Hey, does anybody see a cone on the ground or see a cone attached? Here's a cone. The question now is whether or not this is the cone to this tree.
I don't see. Oh, never mind. There's that pine.
Oh, there's that
right
one.
there.
Huh?
There's that pine right there. So I'm doing that one. I don't know if they're the same.
They're not the same. Okay, so I think it's B as well. So let's go B.
Okay. 18. The longest needles on the lower branches, usually less than 3 centimeters long, often erect, branchlets pubescent, trees spire-shaped, sometimes shrub-like at timberline, male cones bluish, seed cones dark purple, often growing with Engelmann spruce. Or longest needles on the lower branch, more than 3 centimeters long, in flat sprays or erect, branchlets glabrous, trees often with a cone-like to rounded crown, male cones rose to dark red, seed cones olive green.
Okay, this one's a challenging one. What do you guys think? Longest needles on the lower branch is usually less than 3 centimeters long.
Oh.
This one's about exactly 3 centimeters, by the way. We do have cones. Let's take a look far up. Can we see anything?
It's like there might be one over here.
What are the small things up there? Are they the male cones? Okay, so this is a challenging one because we don't have cones with us. Let's go look at the pictures in the book and see if they can help us decide. Go to pages 114 and 115. So here we have Abby's concolor, the white fir, versus Abby's Lasiocarpa, the subalpine fir. Here's the tree shape of the subalpine versus.
It looks more like the white tree.
So what do you guys think after looking and reading? Read a little bit in your book.
And those cones are not.
Is the bark pubescent or not? That was one of the things that we can look at for our couplet. Is this tree spire shaped? It's kind of a younger tree. What's the crown of the tree look like? It's kind of more rounded.
Yeah, it does look more rounded, but
Yeah, I'm tending. Let's see, did we decide whether the branchlets were glabrous or pubescent?
It's a little pubescent.
What does that mean pertaining to trees?
Okay, what is glabrous or
Sorry,
pubescent?
never mind.
What do you think pubescent means?
Little hairs.
Hairy. Okay? Hairy. Versus glabrescent or glabrous means without hairs. Smooth. Okay? This looks rather glabrous, but there are a few hairs. I'm leaning towards white for myself. Unfortunately, this one is not easy because we don't have cones. But we might also be able to look at our Key 2019 and see what they use to help us decide. Does anyone have their Key 2019 and know where? Let's look where the gymnosperms are.
Oh yeah. The bark like deeper in is definitely pubescent.
Yeah, okay, but it says branchlets.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the relevant couplet in our Key 2019 is on Key A, couplet 11. And it says, leaves mostly 3 to 5.5 centimeters long, branchlets nearly glabrous, usually below 8,000 feet elevation.